listen to fall to the floor.
Hello, welcome back to another pen talk. And after a slight divergence into some inks and an American pen, we're now back to Chinese pens. Those that watch my channel know how much I really enjoyed the 618, which is here. This was clear with gold trim, and little did I know they make it with silver trim, which I just think is a nicer look. We'll look at those closely a little bit later on. They also make some colored versions, a red one and a blue one. And I really felt that they needed to be compared to the Platinum Century, which also comes in a translucent red and a translucent blue. And also we have here the Parker 51, which I think certain aspects of the 618 mimic. You know, you got your arrow clip and your hooded nib. So I just thought we would just quickly take a look at the silver versus the gold one. Now obviously the gold one's been filled with ink since I first got it, and it's written reliable day in and day out. Occasionally you'll get a little bit of ink spatter in the top of the cap, but I just wipe it out with a paper towel or rinse it with water depending upon what I want. So for those of you that might be deciding on what trim you would like on your clear 618, this should help you make that decision easier. Then there's a translucent red version of it in gold trim. You know, it's a same type of unscrew, same type of hooded nib, but I really just love the fact that they've followed the same color throughout the whole pen. It's one of the things I think it makes this pen very unique and very nice. So if we compare it to the Century, I did a full review on these a while ago. You know, the gold trim is similar. You know, obviously this one is more transparent. This has less pigment in it, and I think that lends itself to the piston fill pen. This also has a section that matches the material of the pen. And as we move on to the blue version, to me what I find very nice is they've used silver trim on the blue version, and the gold trim is consistent among all the Platinum Centuries that I have. This color is a little bit closer, but it's still not, you know, an exact match. But the feel of the plastic is the same between both of these pens, so I'm just very impressed. So we're going to do some writing, and we're going to do it primarily with the gold one, because a couple of my viewers have asked about how that pen has held up over time. And then we're going to do some physical comparisons to the 51, and then leave it at that. But I just wanted to really show you the different colors that the pen is coming in. It also comes in a flash color, which I wish I could have gotten, and I tried to get the manufacturer to ship me that, but I was unsuccessful, so I may have to just order one and see how it looks. But it certainly strikes my fancy. I'll probably get that one in green, so I have a full complement of the colors. And came in this nice secure little box, which looks familiar. And I got a nice velvety pen pouch and this converter full of silicone grease to lubricate the piston with. Excellent combination of goods. And inside the box, besides the pen, which slides out, there's also your wing-sung instructions, which have now become quite common. The other one I had, like this one, really wasn't specifically for the 618, and this also is not, because it shows the standard nib. And it shows the locking cap, but it is good for filling instructions, and cleaning and showing that you can lubricate the piston. Take a look at the difference in the color between the 618 clear red and the Platinum Century. We'll take my trusty LED light. You can see that's a much clearer red. As we get into the Platinum Century, you'll see that it's not quite as clear. It's a much denser color. The other thing I noticed, which I didn't notice before, is there's like sections of facets there in a certain part of that barrel on the Century. That's kind of nice, but it is a different color. So here's a mashup of the 618 cap and the barrel in the chartreuse or the blue. And again, the color on the 618 is more transparent, clearer, but there's not as much of a difference in the blue as there was in the red. And again, we see those interesting facets that I didn't realize was in the Century. For those that didn't see my original video on the transparent one, I thought it was interesting to see how the LED shows up the internals of the feed. You know, that fin section does really nice job. Obviously, when you fill it with ink, it's going to be pretty much opaque, which is similar to what we saw on the transparent one when I filled it with ink. View of the transparent one, I remarked how similar these sections are between the two pens, and that hooded nib is certainly unique on the 51 when it came out. And also there's this clutch ring, which is almost identical at the bottom of the section between the section and the barrel. But unlike the 51, which had just a pressure fit cap, the 618 has a screw cap. So that's one of the differences that still surprises me. I'm thinking that the screw cap is more secure and probably requires not as quite a tolerance as a slip-on cap that requires, you know, a lot of contact. But I think what 51 was able to do is they put a nice cap liner inside the cap, and that pretty much fits very closely to the section. You can see there's a little bit of metal there that has some openings in it that grip the clutch ring here when you cap it. Surprised me about comparing the 618 to the Platinum Century is they're almost identical in length when they're posted from the top of the cap to the bottom of the nib. And you might look at that hooded nib and say, how can you use that section? But here's the key. When the nib is touching the paper, your fingers are going to be back here if you're going to be holding this pen at the same distance from the paper that you would hold a normal pen. And that's how I think this design works well, but it also gives you the ability of sliding your fingers up and down and positioning them at any location that you would like. And the threads are back here, which are just as far back as they are on the Century, so they're pretty much out of the way and won't interfere. And we'll give you these dimensions to show you how they compare fairly reasonable. So the section works well from my view. A writing sample with the clear pen because that's inked up. I have too many pens inked up and I haven't decided on how I'm going to ink up the red and the blue version. They all have the same nib. I expect the same writing experience from all these pens. The 618s are very consistent. The build quality is extremely nice. I mean, I've had this pen almost a month now. It's knocked around in a case. It's been somewhat abused, and it's writes first time every time. You can leave it set for a few days and it just pick it up and it goes. I think it lays down a decent patch of ink. I think that's really comes across very clear on the camera. So you may ask what ink this is. The ink inked it up with originally. So obviously I got some nice Robert Parker. Oof, yes, I've been doing some wine stuff, and I grew up with Robert Parker, but not grew up technically, but is my wine experiences, etc. So again, I think this is a great pen. I don't think anybody will be disappointed. Now it comes in colors, which I think are quite nice. And there's even more colors than what I've seen here, what I've shown here. The Century also comes in a lot of colors. And it also has a slip and seal. It has a nice big gold nib on it. It does have a blue and rhodium as well as a blue and gold. So how do you decide between these two pens if you were making a decision? I think it has to go with what you feel comfortable with. I mean, there's that thing called value, and value is relative. So I think, I've gotten a lot of comments on my original video on the 618. They've all been very, very positive. So that's one reason why I feel that they are very consistent. And it feels as good in the hand of any pen made out of plastic that you're going to touch. So I don't have any real concerns with this pen. It posts nicely, fits well in the hand posted. Yeah, it's not going to focus. So thank you for watching. May have had many great writing experiences. Explore the wonderful world of pen, ink, and paper. Enjoy your life as you enjoy your pens. Bye.